Hello fellow Bannerlords, in this video I will share how to best come to the defense of settlements. The first thing you want to do is form an army and position yourself close enough to monitor the progress of the siege attempt. While you wait for the parties you have summoned together, you want to pay close attention to the number of defenders you have remaining in the settlement you are trying to defend. I'm moving my cursor back and forth to obtain the most updated hit count. You will need to start moving in before the number gets too low, else you will lose the settlement. Ideally, you want to engage when you have a significant numbers advantage over your opponent. When the battle starts, take note of the enemy's movement. You can hold the Alt key to get an idea of where the enemy is and how far they are away from you. If the enemy is moving to your position, you need to secure an advantageous position quickly. It's best to be on high ground. In this case, there was a river, and I wanted to ensure that my archers could freely engage the enemy units as they crossed it. After finding a suitable spot, I split my archers into 3 different formations and positioned them in a way that I felt could deal with the enemy's composition. I was particularly concerned about the number of mounted troops that the enemy had. 59 mounted troops can cause havoc to my archers in the back line. In case you didn't notice, I had commanded all my troops to hold fire. Since the enemy was still moving towards me, I continued to fine-tune the position of my troops while I waited for the enemy to move into the kill zone that I had set up.
Infantry, form a shield.
You want to carry on monitoring the enemy's movements. Now would be a good time to double check your troops' formations. Your melee ground units should be using shield wall, while your archers should be set to loose formation. I noticed that the enemy's mounted units were starting to split away from their main force. I decided to place my archers further to the side to fire at them before they charge in, hopefully. A large number of my archers were crossbowmen that carried shields. Using shield wall just before getting charged by mounted units can significantly reduce the lethality.
Infantry, archers, move! Archers, forward! Everyone, fire at will!
Now that the enemy troops are within range, I commanded my troops to fire.
Archer, turn! Archer!
As the mounted units got closer, I changed the direction that my archers were facing to prioritize the threat.
Movement! Archers! Footmen, follow infantry! Charge!
I had planned to use the shield wall formation to resist the charge, but I was a little late in issuing that command.
Archers! Face the archer! Movement! Infantry! Look that way! Infantry!
At this point, I felt it was an excellent time to personally flank their front line with a handful of melee troops. The enemies were starting to fall back and my troops were becoming disorganized from chasing them down. In battles like this, where there may be several waves of enemies, it is essential not to overextend. You may need to reposition your troops as the new wave of enemies may strike from a slightly different position.
Archers! Wheel!
I noticed a couple of mounted units pushing towards my archers on the left and decided to provide some assistance. Most mounted units will lower their shield right before impact. Do take this opportunity to take a clean shot with a ranged weapon.
Footmen, archers! Infantry!
With that threat gone, I had to re-examine the battlefield to determine if I needed to reposition my units.
Look that way! Archers, move! Face that way! Infantry! Infantry! Move!
Most of the incoming enemy units seemed to be heading towards my right side. As such, I commanded my archers on the left to come closer to fire at the enemy's flank.
Give them infant sergeants in charge!
These two formations of archers are better than one. I decided to move another formation of archers to the left side to assist.
Forward!
Another wave of enemies was on their way, so I commanded my mounted units to return.
Infantry! Move! Infantry! Form a shield wall! Infantry! Move!
Noticing that the enemy charged towards the far right side of my army, I instructed my melee infantry and mounted units to charge. I did that because they might be able to ignore the shield wall that I had set up and head straight to my archers.
Woodman! Move! Infantry!
Here, I had assumed that that was the final wave of enemies, but it wasn't. As such, I scrambled to get my army organized again. As you can see, my soldiers are all over the place.
Archers, move! Turn! Soldier, foremost footmen! Look that way! Infantry! Wheel! Footmen! Move! Turn! Infantry! Follow your sergeants! Footmen!
A couple of my melee units get killed in quick succession despite using the shield wall formation. In response, I commanded my troops to charge. At this point, it's probably okay to leave the troops charging, as there weren't many enemy units left. However, I chose to play it safe and got my troops organized again. I've been getting attacked by 3 factions at a time for a long while now. As such, I wanted to minimize unnecessary loss to my units.
Infantry! Give infantry sergeants in charge! Soldier attack!
The battle is over finally. I hope this video has been helpful to you. Do hit the like and subscribe button to show your support. Also, feel free to leave any questions in the comments below.